Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing. Today we discuss a standout from the Patek Philippe 2023 collections, the Calatrava Travel Time 5224R-001. It is a dual-time watch with a 24-hour format that is substantial for a dress watch in rose gold, 42 millimeters in diameter, 10.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 50.4 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I will throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's actually a good fit. I think a wrist my size or larger, you're good to wear this. Smaller wrist, you probably want to look at a smaller Patek, maybe a travel time like a 5134 from a previous generation. You can see from over the top, the lugs do push right out to the edge of my wrist, though with a sloped bezel and a low profile, it'll easily fit underneath the cuff. You can see down the barrel, the lugs are not at the edge of my wrist, but they're getting close. The strap, calfskin with a wonderful velvety nubuck texture, has a matte finish in dark blue with a contrasting stitch, almost a little bit of a pilot's watch vibe, though formally this is not part of the pilot's watch collection at Patek Philippe, or the pilot's watch genre, I should say. The flanks are folded. We've got a little bit of bolstering to add volume. You can see we have the contrasting stitch on top and on the bottom, calfskin, no crimping, no gouging, a brand new Patek Philippe factory strap. We have a Patek Philippe rose gold spade style polished and faceted pin buckle. Particularly like how the pin is faceted down its center. Love the attention to detail there. The lugs are, as Patek calls them, tiered. I would call them fluted. Either way, they're beautiful. They are elegant, they taper nicely, they have a handsome curvature to them, sharp definition, and particularly where they join the case, there's a nice sharp crease between the two surfaces. This looks a lot like welded lug case construction, which is very artisanal and requires a lot of hand finishing off, and that's how you get a super sharp break between case and lug. The rest of the case is defined by a sort of rotund but narrow polished mid-case profile, and then the bezel has a little bit of a inward tuck before it flares outward and then terminates in a flat conical profile adjacent to the slightly boxed and cambered sapphire. Rolling all the way around, you can see everything is of high polish. We have the Patek Philippe logo, the Calatrava cross, on the crown. And you can see the crown is somewhat countersunk into the flank, so it doesn't stick out obtrusively. Now the dial, a couple of concentric tracks. Starting from the outside working in, we have rose gold applique indices on a white railroad style track for reading minutes. Inboard of that, we have all applique rose gold indices and numerals radially arrayed, comprising 24 hours. We also have a small seconds that has a pattern inside of it, a very, very fine texturing with a polished rose gold chapped ring and a quasi crosshair layout with a white counterweighted leaf or feuille style seconds hand. Inboard we have another white railroad style track, and then at center a raised Patek logo and city of origin with a concentric track at center, very much like the grooves of a vinyl record. Now we'll do a loom shot here, because this watch, though a Calatrava and a dress timepiece, is extraordinarily luminescent for any watch, not just a dress watch. Even sports GMTs often lack this level of luminescence. Now this is a little bit different from previous Patek Philippe travel watches, like for example, the 5134 or the 5034, because those always use travel time triggers to drive an independently mobile secondary hour hand. Here you can see I'm able to make all of those adjustments using the crown. You can also see that when I withdraw the crown fully, I stop the seconds. This is a hacking movement. So, of course, everything here moves in 24-hour sweeps. These are superimposed 24-hour hands, a lot like an old quartermaster's watch, and the hand profiles are a hybrid of baton and syringe with rose gold for the primary hour and the minutes, and then we have the, pull that out real quick, we have that secondary time with a skeletonized hybrid baton syringe hand. Because they both move at the same speed, you can superimpose them and clean up the dial when you don't require a second time zone. On the back, we have a version of the caliber 31260. This is the 31260 PS for Petit Second. FUS, which basically means it is the dual time function, and 24H, meaning it moves in 24-hour cycles. Large, you can see that it is a substantial caliber at 31.7 millimeters, part of a new generation of Patek automatics that debuted back in 2011 on the 5225. It is a micro rotor, but it is otherwise not related to the well-known 240. It's a much bigger movement. The train layout is different. The bridges are different. We've got a platinum mass to maximize the winding efficiency, and to further optimize, you can see that the rotor as well as the reduction wheel are mounted on unlubricated ceramic hybrid ball bearing systems. 48 hours of power reserve. It has a beat rate of 4 hertz, which means 8 beats per second. You can see it's adjusted in 6 positions, which is one more than a standard chronometer, and it pivots on 44 joules. Now, it does have that hacking or stop seconds function, so if you wish, you can synchronize your watch to a reference time. It uses Patek's durable and easy to set, that is very precisely regulating, Gyromax free-sprung system. The masses on the spokes of the wheel, those are eccentric weights. There's another one hidden under the bridge. And by moving them, always opposite and equal, you can time the watch and change the timing in very small increments, and they can't be displaced by shock. So not only does it allow very precise regulation, but it also makes the movement more durable. So you can see that, which you might not be able to see, is the blue hairspring. It is silicon, so it is resistant to magnetism and makes this watch very resistant to magnetism, but it's also more resilient against thermal creep, so temperature changes altering the timing of the watch. With the Patek Philippe seal and all these other features, the movement is guaranteed to be accurate, no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. All this water resistant down to 30 meters, so dress watch water resistance. One of the features I really like about this movement is that it has both finish and architecture. Now, while there are more elaborately finished Patek Philippe watches, they cost a lot more money. Starting with architecture, which is the size and relative positioning and proportion of primary structures in relation to each other. So you can see from the winding bridge adjacent to the rotor all the way down to the balance, we have this sort of crescent hollow. Then we have individual finger bridges like you would find on an old Patek Philippe pocket watch, or maybe not even a pocket watch, maybe a mid-century dress watch. You can see that the stripes here are enormous. Look how broad they are, and look how sharp the color gradient is from one side, or I should say the shading gradient. They really do progress from light to dark, and then you can see how much action there is. They really appear to be three-dimensional and luminous as I tilt them through the light. We have mirrored anglage that is started mechanically but finished manually. It's got a nice rounded mirrored shine. My regret is that places like here and here and here and here, we don't have any sharp interior angles where bevels converge in a crease. Although, if you look, we do have some outward points at the edge of the bridges where bevels converge in sharp points, and that does take some energy and effort. We have satination on the wheels, though nothing exceptional. Screw heads all black polished with chamfered slots and circumference. I love to see that. And then we have several different sizes of engine turning on the base plate, which shows attention to detail and real consideration for the refinement of the design. Plus, you can see that the jewel sinks include polishing and reaming to give them a mirrored bevel internally. There's a lot to love here. And if you do love it, reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.